What's up, Axie Nation? Are you ready to make some serious cash playing Axie Infinity? Well, then you need to start breeding and setting up your own scholarship programs. I'm Axie Explained. Let me show you how. Now, for the purposes of this video, I'm assuming you have all the tools you need to set up, but if you don't, just go check out my video after this one on the tools you need right here somewhere. Let's talk about the cost of breeding first. To breed a pair of Axies, you will need 4 AXS per time you breed. Now you can find AXS on exchanges like Binance. Just make sure to transfer them into your MetaMask and then into your Ronin wallet so that you can use them for breeding. Next, you will need SLP, the in-game currency you earn by playing. This is a variable amount that depends on the breed count of your Axie. Here is a breakdown of how much SLP is required. So as an example, if you let an Axie with a breed count of 4 breed with an Axie with a breed count of 0, it is going to cost you 1200 plus 150 for a total of 1350 SLP. Simply put, the more experience your Axie is at making love, the more she's going to cost you per night. Next, you want to know which Axies you want to breed with. Now, I have a whole video on picking the right Axies for you. But to summarize, you want to know what abilities you want from your Axies. You want an Axie with breed count of 3 or less, and you want to look at the genes of the Axie. Right, let's talk about genes. Each Axie has a dominant, recessive 1, and recessive 2 gene. A dominant gene has a 37.5% chance of being passed down to its offspring. A recessive 1 has a 9.375% chance, and the recessive 2 gene has a mere 3.125% chance of being carried over. My recommendation would be to try to get as close to 90% chance or more of the genes you want when you are buying your Axies. What do I mean by this? Let's look at an example. Suppose I want to buy a plant Axie for a tank with the abilities Pumpkin, aka October Treat, Vegetal Bite, aka Serious, Carrot, and Leaf Bug. Make sure to use the filter to only show Axies with breed count of 3 or less. You don't have to filter for pureness because you can use the Freaks extension to help you quickly look at the genes. This first Axie has some very good genes. You only actually care about the bottom 4 genes as those indicate what ability will be carried over. The Serious and Leaf Bug genes are very strong, 3 for 3. The Pumpkin gene is okay with the dominant and R2 gene, and the Carrot is a little bad since it only has the dominant gene. But this being the cheapest Axie, it might be a very good purchase. So let's look for an Axie to breed this one with. But before we do, make a note of the value just to the right of my mouse cursor here that says P to 64%. This means this Axie's purity is 64%. Now that sounds quite bad, right? Well, actually it isn't. The reason the purity is low is because one of the abilities we want is a bug type and not a plant. And the other reason is because the top 2 lines of the genes are a little muddled up. But this doesn't matter that much, and I'll explain to you why soon. Now the point here really is look at the genes of an Axie in detail and don't let the purity throw you off. Now as you can see, this Axie to the right is bad to breed with. Why? Its genes are too muddled with only one dominant gene for Serious and Pumpkin. So let's skip this one. This third Axie is looking quite good with a 343 on Serious and Pumpkin, a D and R1 for Carrot, which is okay, and a little weak for Leaf Bug. But luckily the first Axie had a 343 on Leaf Bug. This might be a potentially good Axie to pick. To make sure, let's head on over to the breeding calculator and enter the Axie's IDs to get a breakdown. As you can see, Serious has a 100% chance of carrying over, so that's perfect. Leaf Bug is close to 90%. Pumpkin is over 90%, and Carrot is at 85%, which is a little low, but considering these were basically the cheapest 2 Axies available, I would take the small risk and buy these 2. Now remember those top 2 lines of genes? They indicate what eye and ears your Axie will have. This plays a small role as it will only have a small effect on the stats of your Axies. But looking for the perfect eyes and ears will make your Axies way more expensive. I recommend ignoring those top 2 lines of the genes to keep your price as low as possible. Lastly, let's talk about how to set up a self-funded breeding network for your scholarship. Now, there are a few ways to do this, but I'm recommending the following way. First, you need to buy 4 Axies of each type you want to breed. So suppose you want a plant aqua reptile team. You will need 4 of each. For the first Axies you buy, you can either pay more at the start and buy them on a 0 breed count, aka virgin Axies, or if your budget is limited, buy the 3 breed count Axies to start with. Now the important thing to understand is that sibling Axies cannot breed with each other. That's why you need 4 Axies or 2 breeding pairs. Pair A and B you breed twice to get children AB1 and AB2. Now these two cannot breed with each other. Next you breed Axies C and D to get you child CD1 and CD2. Now you have 4 new Axies, all virgins on 0 breed count, and this is where the breeding accelerates because the SLP cost is so low to breed virgins. You just continue the same process each time, breeding twice and letting the children breed with the other children. Now that you have a breeding network of Axies, I would recommend setting up a scholarship program so that you can rent out these extra Axies to other players. You'll be able to take a portion of the SLP that they are making with your Axies to cover your cost of breeding. This way, you won't need to pay for your breeding anymore, and you can continue to grow your base of Axies without having to invest any more of your own money. I'll be releasing a video in the future of how to set up a scholarship program, so stay tuned for that. I'm Axie Explained. See you later.